Hey guys, Robin here. So in this video I share my financial independence journey up until this point and my plans for finding financial independence in the Netherlands, which can be a little bit more challenging relative to some other parts, some other countries in the world, I believe. So let's first talk about goals, and my goals in particular. So every beginner investing book, YouTube video or course says that you need to know how much you spend each year to determine your investing goals. Or in other words, how much do you want to spend in the future? So for me, as of now, I don't spend that much personally. So in December 2021, for example, I only spent 977 euros in that particular month. Of course, that's also because we were in a lockdown here in the Netherlands, and therefore there weren't that many possibilities to spend the money. So furthermore, besides my dog, I don't have any children, and I don't live in an expensive house, and I don't drive an expensive car either. But I do think that my expenses will grow in the future when we move to another house and so forth. So my ideal scenario would be to have 5,000 euros to spend personally per month. So that's just me. I don't include my girlfriend's salary in that number. Having 5,000 euros per month for me, I think means living a very, very rich life. So I know some people have spent like 10 or 20 grand per month, but I think having 5,000 euros to be able to spend every single month personally is huge. What do you guys think? So anyhow, so having a goal or a number, if you will, which could be a different number for you, is very important when determining how much money to shoot for when aiming for financial independence. Because financial independence means, at least in my point of view, that I don't have to work any longer to make ends meet. So that 5,000 euros is just pouring in every single month for free, basically, from my investments. That's the idea. So the only issue with this calculation is that this 5,000 euros isn't the same 5,000 euros within 20 or 30 years because of inflation. Meaning I can buy fewer goods and services with this same 5,000 euros 30 years down the line. So here you can see an image of how the dollar became less valuable over the last 100 years. So the dollar lost around 95% or so of its value within 100 years. So this is inflation. So we now have a pretty high inflation rate this past year. But the usual average inflation rate, at least in the Netherlands, is around 2%. But of course, it depends on what country you live in. And that's the problem many people didn't consider doing, including me. They often say that if you want to know how much you need to have invested in becoming financially free, you just multiply your yearly living expenses by 25. That's a pretty basic formula most people use to calculate how much they need to shoot for becoming financially free. So if you multiply your annual expenses by 25, you get a number to shoot for how much you need to have invested. So if I were to do that, I would multiply 60,000 by 25, because my goal of having 5,000 per month times 12 months is 60,000, right? So 60,000 times 25 is 1.5 million. So the problem is 5,000 per month with a 2% inflation in 20 years only gives you around 3,500 per month instead of 5,000, which is a big difference. So if I use this inflation calculator, I can calculate the equivalent of 5,000 in 20 years. So a 2% inflation rate makes 5,000 today, the same as 7,500 in 20 years. So this is pretty crazy, right? So if you thought you were on your way to financial independence, you're short 50% because of inflation. So let's say I'm shooting for 7,500 per month. If I multiply 7,500 by 12, the 12 months, we'll get 90,000. So multiplying 90,000 by 25, we'll get 2.3 million. And as you can see, this is a totally different number than that earlier 1.5 million. So then another thing to keep in mind is that this multiplier of 25 is based upon the 4% withdrawal rule, 4%, meaning you can withdraw 4% of your total investments every single year to live off of. So the basic idea is that you can't run out of money because you only withdraw 4%. So the market returns on average, let's say 8 to 10% per year, which means your portfolio is still growing in size despite taking out 4% per year. But some people argue whether this 4% isn't too much, making it risky that you might run out of money while in retirement. So that's why some people follow the 400 multiplier. It's a different formula. And this means instead of multiplying your annual expected living expenses by 25, you multiply your monthly living expenses by 400. It's just a different formula. So multiplying 7,500 by 400 gives us 3 million to shoot for. So 90,000 of 3 million is 3%. This means instead of me withdrawing 4% per year to give me 90,000, I can withdraw 3%, making it a bit more safe when the market doesn't do as well as expected. So then there is another big issue I will face when building up my Nasdaq in the country I live in, so in the Netherlands. So again, I live in the Netherlands, and don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful country, but the taxes I need to pay to live here are crazy high relative to other countries. So besides the extremely high income tax of 49% over everything you earn above 69,000 per year, 49%. Think about that. So besides that, I need to pay capital tax as well. So for example, if I have a total investment portfolio of, let's say, 3 million, I need to pay around 42,000 per year or 1.4% in taxes to the government. So I still can't wrap my head around this. So it feels like I'm playing basketball or football against a team that has 3 or 4 more players. It's almost impossible to win. It also feels like my government doesn't want me to become financially free. They want me to keep working. So this is also the reason why many wealthy individuals that used to live here in the Netherlands move to a different country like Belgium, Germany, the UK, Spain, or wherever this problematic or, let's say challenging tax rule isn't there. So I'm still unsure what to do with this tax issue, since I recently realized this is a major problem, or let's say a major challenge in my financial freedom plan. So in earlier videos, I always said that my plan is to aim for 2 million. But as you can see, I came across some major issues here, and I'm unsure what number to aim for exactly. Should it be 3 million? I don't know yet. Or maybe I shouldn't aim for having millions at all. Maybe instead of just living frugally like I'm doing now, I should buy an expensive car, do way more trips, more vacations, buy more gadgets, and so forth. Because now it feels like I'm getting penalized for living frugally and investing my money for a later time in my life, for retirement. Or maybe there are other possibilities I didn't think of yet, like moving to another country or so. But then again, I probably can't live that long without seeing my family. So I'm not sure yet what to do. So anyhow, this is just to say that only multiplying your yearly expenses by 25 doesn't do the trick. You need to keep in mind inflation in your country and the tax rules in your country to determine how much you really need to aim for. Anyhow, enough with all the talking. Let's look at the actual numbers of today. So as of now, I have 30,030 euros in cash, and this is 47,000 less than what I had a month ago. And that's because I needed to pay 40,000 euros in income tax for the income I earned in 2020. So how crazy is that? 40,000 in income tax in 2020. So that's what it means to be a taxpayer in the Netherlands. Yes, I know I'm complaining a lot in this video, and it's definitely not all bad here in the Netherlands because the government, like the healthcare system, for example, is really good. Like everyone has the same health care. So it's not like in the US where you need to have a lot of money to have a decent healthcare system. In the Netherlands, everyone has the same healthcare, whether they have lots of money or not. So I think that's a good thing, of course. And so there are many other things which is good about the Netherlands. But yeah, in this video we're talking about the taxes, which is kind of crazy. So besides the 30,030 euros in cash, I am 224,134 euros invested, and this means I am currently 88% invested and 12% in cash. So this is exactly what my goal was in November 2020. Back then it was the other way around. I had 80% in cash and I was only 20% invested. And as they say, time in the market beats timing the market. So therefore I'm heavily invested, and hopefully it works out. So if we dive into that bigger part of the pie, that 88% invested, we'll see how I invest my money on a percentage basis. Because screaming only numbers like thousands in cash or 100,000 in cash does not say that much if you don't know how much they have in total. So again, I am 88% invested and I have 12% in cash. So the next question is, how is my money invested? So let's have a look. So of that 88% invested, I have 86% in stocks and 14% in cryptos. So that's it. I don't have any real estate or other assets besides my own business, but trying to calculate the value of my company makes it way too complex for this video. So furthermore, I have 47% invested in the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, 37% in the Vanguard All World ETF, 12% in Bitcoin, 3% in the Vanguard Emerging Markets ETF, and 2% in Ethereum. And if I did my math correctly, adding these numbers up would make 100%. So then another exciting thing to know is the percentages of my crypto portfolio, meaning how much percent do I have in Bitcoin and how much in Ethereum. So my idea is to have somewhat 80 to 90% in Bitcoin and the rest in Ethereum. Why? Because Bitcoin is 40% of the total value of cryptocurrencies combined, and Ethereum makes up for 20% of all the total value of all the cryptocurrencies. So you can compare it with the S&P 500 and the total market cap of the entire world. So the S&P 500 is roughly 40% of the entire world market. And therefore, it's important to be invested in that S&P 500, in my opinion. So of my total crypto assets, I have 85% in Bitcoin and 15% in Ethereum. So then lastly, which is a good thing to keep in mind, in my opinion, is to keep an eye on your entire allocation strategy. So for me, if I take a look at all my assets combined, or money or net worth, if you like to call it, I have 12% in crypto, 12% in cash, and 76% in stocks. So then let's have a look at my personal spendings and savings rate. So last month in January 2022, I made 8,181 euros in gross income. And I spent in total 2,148 euros personally. So that's 466 euros in rent and other housing costs, 214 euros in groceries, and then 1,431 euros in personal spending. So my personal expenditure is more than usual because I paid for my health insurance for 1 year, totaling 1,190 euros. And therefore I won't have to pay it every single month. And there was a bit of a discount if I remember that correctly. So the total number of how much I spent personally in January was 2,148 euros, excluding stock and Bitcoin purchases. So in other words, I saved and invested 74% of January's income. But yes, I do need to pay taxes on that money later, on the income later. So besides my personal spending, I also purchased 10,695 euros worth of new stock purchases in January and 800 euros new Bitcoin purchases. So I now have 0.85, around that number, I think a little bit more, 0.85 Bitcoin. So almost 1 Bitcoin. Pretty cool, right? Or maybe you think I'm crazy to put my money into it. Let me know down below in the comments. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment if you want to say hello or ask me a question, or maybe you want to share your experience trying to get to financial independence in the country you live in. Let me know down below in the comments. Thank you. Bye-bye.